Confessions of a Crossword Puzzle Editor by Margaret Petherbridge. The Crossword Puzzle Book, First Series, 1924. When I was first made unwilling crossword puzzle editor some 2 years ago, the procedure in deciding what puzzle would be run was limited to picking out a good-looking one from among the bunch and sending it upstairs to be set. I saw no reason to change this splendid system. At that time, I had never taken the trouble to do a puzzle, and the letters of anathema and condemnation that came in by the dozens had small effect on my conscience. They were evidently from cranks and couldn't be avoided. I must admit that the dawning of conscience began with the arrival of FPA, who came to work in the next room. When he discovered that I was responsible for the crosswords, he formed the atrocious habit of stalking in every Monday morning bright and early, about 11 o'clock, to point out to me in sarcastic tones just what was wrong with yesterday's. Well, to make a long story short, in order to avoid the moronish feeling that usually followed such a lecture, I decided to reform and find out what a really decent puzzle was like. I began by trying to do one the next Sunday, and thus experienced the throes of acute agony that come to all solvers of puzzles on discovering definitions left out, numbers wrong, hideously warped definitions, words not to be found inside of any known dictionary, foreign words, very foreign, and words that had no right to be dragged out of their native obscurity. Then and there, with my left hand reposing on a dictionary and my right raised in air, I took an oath to edit the crosswords to the essence of perfection. From then on, I instituted the procedure of doing the puzzles myself on the page proof, sort of trying it on the dog, applying the principle, "If it not be fair to me, what care I how fair it be?" Since that momentous day, FPA's visits have grown less frequent. In fact, he has to make up excuses to come in and converse on other matters. And the crosswords even came in for an occasional bouquet in Sam Pepys' diary. So now you all know whom to thank for the perfection, more or less, of the crossword puzzle found each Sunday on the World Magazine's Ingenuities page. Foreword by the publishers. The Crossword Puzzle Book, Second Series, 1924. One crossword puzzle book leads to another. Now that the second volume, containing a new series of 50 more crossword puzzles, is available, it seems fitting to take the reader behind the scenes and give him a short history of this crossword business. The first crossword puzzle book was published on April 10, 1924. In New York, it sprang into immediate popularity, becoming there a bestseller within a fortnight. A small but ardent group of crossword puzzle devotees gave the fad a running start. Among these pioneers may be mentioned FPA, Montague Glass, Nasa McMain, Emily Price Post, Baird Leonard, Ruth Hale, Gelett Burgess, Robert C. Benchley, Hendrik Willem van Loon, Kathleen and Charles G. Norris, Mary Roberts Reinhardt, and Carolyn Wells. Crossword puzzling became the thing to do, the raging topic of conversation, supplanting kueh, mahjong, and bananas, first a slogan, now a fact. With this impetus, the pastime's popularity radiated to other cities, and within a month the crossword puzzle book was ranked number 4 on the national list of non-fiction bestsellers. 3 weeks later, it advanced to 3rd place, and the following month jumped into the lead, where it appears to remain indefinitely. First a fad, then a bestseller, the crossword puzzle book became an American institution, immortalized in cartoons by Briggs, prose epics by Bob Benchley, and ballads by FPA. Ordinary books are meant to be read. Here is a book in which one writes. More than that, a book in which one has the supreme satisfaction of unraveling a real mystery, tracking down clue after clue. This, no doubt, is the secret of the irresistible fascination of crossword puzzling. Everyone enjoys being an amateur Sherlock Holmes, and the tantalizing black and white word patterns provide an ideal battleground for one's detective instincts. This deep-rooted appeal explains the extraordinary popularity of the book. When we announced in one of our early advertisements that people do not want this book, they crave it, we had actual proof to support this statement. Frenzied fans storming the publisher's office to get extra copies in order to keep peace in the house. 6 weeks after the publication of the first crossword puzzle book, May 18th to be precise, the Crossword Puzzle Association of America was formed at a convention at the Hotel Ambassador, New York. At this congress, the rules and regulations of crossword puzzling were formulated. A contest for the Crossword Puzzle Championship of the World was held, and William A. Stern II won first honors, solving a standard 11-square formation in 10 minutes 10 2/5 seconds. Mr. Stern has written a preface for this book, explaining the delights of crossword puzzling, for both novice and veteran. Thus, in the words of Neil O'Hara, America began to gasp for words. The crossword puzzle became the great escape from boredom, the most powerful enemy of ennui. Not only entertainment and thrills, but sound instruction reward the true crossword puzzler. Here is the most delightful and the most effective way of building up one's vocabulary and enriching one's general fund of information. Dictionaries and synonym books joined the bestseller list, right behind the crossword puzzle book itself. For everyone, to obtain the maximum benefit and fun, must have a dictionary or a word book handy. The pencil and eraser provided with the crossword puzzle book proved to be a most popular feature. Postcards for applying for the correct answers to the puzzles also pleased the followers of the pastime. This equipment, therefore, is retained in the second series. The suggestion has been made that future editions of the book be equipped with shock absorbers and four-wheel brakes. Thousands of puzzle enthusiasts have indicated their eagerness for this second series of crosswords. This book, like the first volume, is edited and compiled by the crossword puzzle editors of the New York World, the undisputed leaders of the gentle art. Every effort has been made to safeguard the technical perfection of the puzzles. This time, they are arranged in the order of their difficulty, beginning with fairly easy ones and ranging to the most intricate formations, calculated to baffle Houdini himself. Beauty of design, accuracy of definition, complete interlock, and the minimum number of unkeyed letters. These elements have all been considered in selecting the puzzles. We are confident that they will prove as absorbing, as entertaining, yes, as exciting as the first 50. Preface by Prosper Burinelli, F. Gregory Hartswick, and Margaret Petherbridge. The Crossword Puzzle Book, 3rd Series, 1924. Controversy, which is the breath of life to any of the arts or sciences, has reared its head among the ranks of crossword solvers. The air is filled with tiz and taint. The clan is divided into schools, which is well for the vitality of puzzling. It is undoubtedly true that a house divided against itself cannot stand. But it is also veritable that an art divided against itself flourisheth exceedingly. The schism that is causing all the noise, reduced to its simplest terms, is stated in the question, shall the crossword puzzle be made hard or easy? On the one hand stand the pundits, with thesaurus and dictionary armed. They crave queer words and exotic definitions. They thrill to the cross-clue unraveling of some strange combination of vowels and consonants resembling nothing ever uttered by human tongue, but which their reference books declare is a genuine word, with meanings and inflections and everything. Thus the solvers who revel in the recondite. Opposed to them stand the serried ranks of those whose pleasure lies in the accomplishment, who do not wish their onward march to victory delayed by forests of Javanese shrubs or oceans full of Ragidae with enlarged pectoral fins. Nor do they wish words torn far from their daily or at least semi-weekly use. A leer by the river's brim, a simple sly glance is to them, and not an annealing furnace. A third element enters the list at this point: the constructors. When a man has a superb puzzle almost finished with complete interlock and no abbreviations or unkeyed letters, he frequently finds a space left into which nothing will go except a particularly rare combination of letters. Let us say, for example, TIL. The constructor runs hastily through his vocabulary and finds no TIL. He has a vague recollection of such a word somewhere in his poetic remembrances. But the familiar abbreviation of until is TILL, and the constructor has no wish to add the damning parenthesis enclosed poetry contraction after his definition. He tries all the combinations possible, none will fit. Torn between despair and hope, he seeks Webster's unabridged. Trembling finger runs down the columns. Ah! Between Ticker and Tilbury, in small type, as though ashamed of its existence, he finds what he seeks. Till, sesame. Into the construction goes the word, and the puzzle is finished. Observe that the constructor had no desire to introduce this exotic syllable. He did not even know that there was such a word in any language. If he could have written tick, or tie, or tin, or tip, or tiz, or tit, he would have done so. But till was his sole refuge, and the unabridged bore him nobly out. Thus, says the constructor, why should the solver rage when he discovers sesame among the definitions? Let him try to make one himself, etc., etc. Returning a moment to the pundit side of the argument, observe a fact. If any solver had been asked before he took up crosswords to give offhand the name of Egypt's sun god, a 3-letter word meaning island, a 4-letter word for handbag, the name of a large Australian bird, or the sash affected by the ladies of Cherry Blossom Land, it is odds that he would have been reduced to stammering evasions. But even a tyro at the glorious game can now rattle off by rote the words Ra, Uit, Etui, Moa, Obi. In running down the definitions of a new puzzle, it is not the household words that set him scribbling frantically, but such old friends as the above. So, contend the punditai, a word that may be a nameless horror at the moment becomes through association a friend in time of trouble. True enough, answer the believers in the simplicities, but the introduction of such words is evidence of laziness on the part of the constructor. Moreover, their constant use tends to eliminate them, their places to be taken by other literal monstrosities. And there is much in this contention. Where now are the emu and the eel? Time was, and not so long ago, that every other construction was the combined aviary and aquarium necessary to harbor these two. Today, they are one with Nineveh and Tyre. And so it well may be with Ra and Uit and Etui. They will march one by one into the shades where lurk the other gallant words that died of overwork. And the strange combinations that take their places will also abide their little hour and go their way. Once again, the constructor beats on the table and demands to be heard. Where, he asks, do I get off? Am I to be barred from including words that finish my design because a group of you insist that no word not included in everyday vocabularies appear in the little white squares? Or am I to suffer under the lash of scorn because a few of you mock my brilliant construction wherein no exotic letter combination rears its head? A construction that cost me more time than if I had allowed a few oddities, I may add? What am I to do? Go as far as you like, cry the recondites. Stick to the common words, insist the champions of the plain. Of course, these admonitions do not help the constructor in the least. He is the ham in the verbal sandwich, necessary but spread further thin and squashed flat. It is in the nature of things that this should be so. No creator has had a different experience. You can please some of the people and the rest of it. It is part of the penalty of the builder to receive criticism. Scarce have the birth pangs passed when the child is the storm center of a tempest of contradictory comment. It is, of course, an indeterminable debate. The simplicities have their case, as have the abstrusities. In the meantime, short of erasure and complete rebirth, the constructor's pattern remains. For better, for worse, for easier, for harder, in the pocket edition or the unabridged, his words cross and twine all among the blacks and the whites. In the meantime, the schism remains. What is to come of it, we know not. Whatever the decision may be, the constructor will not change his status. Once a constructor, always between the millstones.